when we sum up and you give your little final thought on everything that we discussed today. So we are going to start with Chris. Chris, just go ahead, sum everything up, give like your final thought on everything that we currently discuss.
I think we need to meet our children where they're at, but then show them where they can be. You don't stifle your children, because we can't always implement that. Well, we didn't do this growing up. We didn't do that growing up, because our parents used to say the same thing about us. The climate is constantly changing. And with that, we have to change as parents. So whatever you need to do to reach your children, you do that. But then you bring them back to that foundation of what you know to work and what you know to be the solid thing that you stand on. For me, it's prayer. It's my prayer life. I know that with that, I can do anything else. I know that no matter what my children go through, if I go back to that prayer life, I know that eventually they'll get to where they need to be.
Okay. Kelly?
Well, I will piggyback on her with the prayer, foundation, structure, both parties. Both parties have to be on the same page when you're raising your children.
Yeah.
And that's something y'all to discuss prior to even get into a deep relationship.
Right.
Because if both of y'all different things, when a child comes, now it's not too late, but it's almost too late, because the child is hearing two different things.
House divided can't stay.
And getting ready to venture out into the world. But foundation, prayer, structure, communication, and that old saying, Ms. Gray know this. That's what I do. This is helpful. It always took a village to raise a child. It wasn't just us. It was aunties, uncles, community, neighbors. We need to get a lot of that back.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's really harder today than anything.
That's facts.
When you see, all the things we see. Now, see, we're blessed. Our children have a foundation. We know what our children are going to do when they leave the home. They're not going to be disrespectful. They're not going to be stealing. But we're blessed with that. Through prayer, family, and our foundation.
Yep.
That's a fact. I like everything they said. Foundation, communication, respect, prayer. But also with prayer, you do have to put in a lot of work to show your kids prayer and works together. You know. I don't know, man. This was hard, because my kids as teenagers, they're not hard children. They're just very emotional children. And me being how I am, I can show you some emotions. It's just when my tank get empty, and then that one come to me and they like, Daddy, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? You know, it's hard raising kids in a time that's now, because they see so much anger, so much violence, so much evil, so much of just straight BS, to where when they come home and they don't see it, they seeing love, they seeing prayer, they seeing foundation, they seeing communication. They like, which one do I go to? And I don't know why, but the bad shit always look the best. So they're going to kind of gravitate towards the bad stuff just because they don't see it at home. And that's the bad part, because the bad stuff looks enticing. What they see at home is like, well, that's what they do. That's how it's supposed to be. But this right here, he just slapped her. That's kind of sweet. I don't understand it, bro. I never understood it. But you just got to keep on your kids, man. You got to keep watching them, making sure they doing what you put into them. That's it.
Okay.
Preach time.
Preach, preacher.
So
preach, preacher.
It's my turn.
Hold on.
I'm being told to pause.
5 minutes.
I'm being told to pause. I don't know why I'm being told to pause, but I'm being told.
I think it's a question from the gallery.
But make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. We do have the store coming up soon.
Very soon.
This was my surprise to Jeff, because he didn't know.
Of course not.
No,
communication. Remember, we just talked about communication, right? I mean, that's all I'm saying.
It was a surprise.
Will feature guest key
Surprise.
T-shirts.
Huh?
Will feature guest key T-shirts, so I got to pay for my
Oh, you
T-shirt.
definitely got to pay for them.
Well, why I got to pay for my T-shirt?
we just talked about the black dollar.
We didn't talk about
just talked
it.
about the black
Because you see
See,
black people always trying to get a
this-
discount. Can I get it for
exactly.
free?
That's why
Well,
we
let
get-
the record reflect that I told Mr. M&G over there that I was going to hook him up with his
You should have told him that.
I
This is-
shouldn't
this
have
is
told
no,
him.
this is
Like,
your
well, that was
Some
the
guests,
friends
when
and
they come on
family
the show,
discount.
Oh, that was.
the host.
What about
have
your
like
other
a
friend?
gift form
I
with
get friends and
t-shirts
family
on.
discount
So
too.
it looks
Am I
like
gonna
we
get a
have a
t-shirt?
comment.
Uh-oh, comment.
So Mrs. Gray says that no parent should redirect negative influences. So I guess that was a hold up right there. So
That was the hold up, Miss Gray.
Is that a question or a comment?
I like it more like a comment.
Miss Gray don't be holding us. No, I'm just playing.
So
We go pray.
Let us pray.
Jeff, you shouldn't pray.
Hey, I ain't cuss, so I can pray.
You
You
cussed a
didn't
few
cuss like
times.
10 times.
Okay, so
I'm going to have to pray for you.
It wasn't 10. It was more like 3.
so
Lift your
so
hand.
here's my take on everything.
Go ahead. Good up.
Here we go.
Here go the synopsis.
This inside joke. Here we go.
You know, he love to talk.
So
Mhm.
so here's my take on it. And first I would like to start with what's happening in our nation and what's going to happen tomorrow is no short of a lack of intellect and awareness, because people didn't do their research and they listened to a person that deemed them uneducated, and they made a decision based on no knowledge whatsoever because nobody got involved to do their research. Now, outside of that, when it comes to teenagers, and one of the things that I wish I had learned about, raising a teen is that patience, awareness, communication, and time. And those are things that I missed out on in elementary school. Trying to be a provider, trying to be that person, trying to give the life that I didn't have. But I also wanted to lead by example. So I had to kind of balance things out, right? So I tried to show him that, hey, you can have the same things that I have in life and even more if you go ahead and put the hard work in. But I wasn't working smarter. I missed 10 years of my son's life. But when he got to high school, I wanted to be more involved. But had I put all that time in, then would the communication be more, right? And I think as parents, we get so wrapped up in trying to give our kids the life that we didn't have. And by trying to give them that, we put so much emphasis on work and less emphasis on time.
I was guilty of
Why?
that.
And then some of us do put so much emphasis on time that we become their best friends and we're no longer their parents. We take them on these extravagant vacations that we didn't get to have when we were younger. But what does that really show them?
You fucking talking about me? I mean,
Are you tearing up? Is this emotional for you?
Go ahead.
So
brother.
Y'all got some tissue?
we put ourselves in these predicaments on different levels. Sometimes we console our kids with money. We see something that happened to them and we say, no, you want to get some ice cream or I can get you this video game. So then you have all these comforting moments, but you don't have the real conversation. So then everything becomes, well, if something happens, then, I can just do some retail therapy and just go buy something. And so then everything becomes meaningless and empty because you really didn't tell them how to deal with their emotions, deal with the situation, or have the conversation to say, hey, let's really talk about it. And then maybe we can go do something else. Okay. Those are the examples that you need. Those are the conversations. Those are the examples that you need to present in their teen years, because those are the development years where they learn how to deal with difficult situations. They learn how to deal with bullies. They learn how to deal with conflict when they have teachers that are acting out at school that may want to go ahead and fight the students. And they have to learn how to handle those situations. How can your child be a critical thinker if you're not a critical thinker yourself? You handle situations from an emotional standpoint instead of a logical standpoint. You go to work and you argue with your coworkers and gossip, and then you bring that same energy home, but then you wonder why your kids act the way that they act when they go out into the streets. They turn out to be 18, but then they end up running around with the wrong kids, even though they say, oh, well, my kid is not that bad person. But yet, and still, we know that kid is that bad person because you don't have that conversation to know that they're out there running the streets, even though they running around with a 3.8 grade point average. Yeah, they smart, but they stupid because they're not even street smart. So they hanging with the wrong ones. They end up dead at 19, and then you're sitting there crying saying, no, that wasn't my baby. But really he was. And these are the situations that we have to navigate our kids through because nobody is really sitting down having a conversation about the real scenarios that's happening out there. Yeah, people want to talk about the racial aspect and what you should do in front of a police officer. But what are you supposed to do when you're dealing with friends that want to skip school to go hang out with a whole bunch of girls and then turn around and have sex? And then you got a baby on the way because then nobody think about having protection because nobody wanted to have a real conversation with direct responses to prevent those actions. So now you got babies having babies. You got young grandmothers. And then you get a repeating cycle over and over and over again because nobody wants to have the real conversation. We need to step back, not only as a parent, not only as a culture, and have those conversations with our kids, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, no matter how direct it is, no matter the negative or positive impact, we need to have those conversations so we can grow closer together. How can you sit here and have a difficult and hard conversation in a relationship with your partner and say, well, we can have these hard conversations, but you don't even want to have it with your own kids. You don't even want to help them. You want to be the example, but you can't even be the example through conversation. The example is not all about action sometimes. Sometimes you got to sit down and be like, look, it got to be a conversation. You got to be able to, communication is such a hard aspect for so many people. But yet, what we still do, we still bypass it as if, communication is the foundation. Communication is everything to a relationship, but you don't even have that with your kids. But you want to boss them around. Do as I say, not as I do. Yes, I can drink this 40 ounce, but you cannot. Until they grow up and drink the 40 ounce. So like, why are you such a drunk? Because you were the example for why that they are drunk.
Hold on, motherfucker, you pointing at me. I said, hold on, brother, you pointing at me.
That's my soapbox because Jeff interrupted me. That's my soapbox. Hey, I'm MG. Jeff No Chaser, our special guest, Kelly, Chris. We will see y'all the next go around. Peace.